we all just met in this at school, just in this band type they had.
Our love of rock brought us together at school. We just went into this little shed and sort of banged out lots of garage tunes.
Me and James used to always just go there, and then Johnny could play a School by Nirvana, so we heard that he could, so we got him to be our drummer, and then Ed Harkle, the bass player.
One of my brother's mates told me that there were these two guys who play guitar and wanted a drummer. I was a drummer in Ed's band before.
And we just thought, why don't we club together and make some good loud rock music, which was nice.
My girl's got a really big forehead. My girl's only got 4 toes. She knows I'm as good as she'll get. She always knows.
We did about 3 or 4 gigs, which were completely mad. They were really, really good. They got in this sort of massive PA system, and we went into the sports hall and did these sort of early gigs. We did covers of lots of bands, like Green Day and
Weezer,
early Nirvana,
and Ash.
You know, what everybody sort of starts off doing, I suppose.
The bands that we sort of knew how to play.
And then started writing our own songs, because it was the first time that music had started sounding like it was easy to do, because most of the music I was listening to before was like Guns N' Roses and loud rock music, and it sounded a bit difficult to do. It was all produced and really like perfect, but this was like a new brand of heavy rock, which was easy to do, so we wrote our own songs.
And then we went to make a demo while we were still at school in this really small studio called the Honey Factory, and then we gave a demo to Phil.
James needed to borrow a guitar amp because he only had a sort of little rock tech thing, and so he borrowed one off Phil, who he knew, and dropped off a tape.
James just gave him a tape which we did at this demo studio, and Phil said, yeah, it's really cool.
Then he was talking to his PA, Alice, and said, well, I suppose I better try and find him some management. And Alice goes, why don't you manage them? And he goes, oh.
And started making tapes at our manager Phil's studio, who was in Roxy Music. And things went on from there. We sent tapes off to a load of record companies, and they all started having a bit of a buzz.
My girl's got a shiny tuxedo. She frowns every time I smile. She knows that she'll always be there, though she always knows.
The guy who came down first was Jonathan Dickens, who's like really cool. And he was, he just like was really over the top, and he seemed like the right guy for us.
Jonathan came to loads of gigs, and from then on we went from there.
Eventually we went with our favourite record company, Warner's, because they were very nice to us.
And then we were signed to the mighty Warner.
I've marred her precious ego, half of which is silicone. She's got a monocle. She knows it can go fast. It drives remote control. She's too slow.
James writes a lot of the songs, and I write some of the songs, basically, and we write sometimes together.
Jim and Ed, particularly, Ed Harkle, they're both they're virtuosos in their field. We were just recording at a studio sort of while I was doing my A-levels, so I'd do a Latin exam and then go and put down some tracks, then come back and sort of hang around revising, and then go to the studio.
Caroline, you know I'll miss you. Caroline, please say you'll let me know somehow that you don't have your doubts. Every day begins the same, and now I've got to learn to live again somehow, although I've got my doubts.
We're called Snug because I think Ed, our guitarist Ed Groves, found it in a dictionary, the name, because I always used to look through dictionaries to find song titles.
Ed's mum was in a record shop just buying something for it, I don't know, and this guy behind her was buying a Snug single and said, yeah, this band, they're really cool, I want to be just like them. And that's the real buzz.
When we make a single and Phil comes along with a big bag of goodies, like the CDs and the posters and the stickers and the postcards and stuff, that gives me a buzz, that does. And hearing it on the radio, and we were on the radio all for the last 3 weeks, like every single day.
This must be the greatest day that I have known. It started so well that something will go wrong. 'Cause when I get things right, I lose my appetite. That's why I felt I had to write this song. Every day, my life was falling apart. Every day, something would break my heart.
We're just recording in the studio at the moment, mixing. Next single.
I've been writing a lot, and James has been writing a lot, and we've all been writing together, and I'm just sort of experimenting with new instruments and sounds, and trying to be the greatest rock and roll band in the world.
Probably next year we'll start getting some, recording some more tracks for the album and get the album out maybe, middle of the year kind of thing, which will be, it's promising to be a really good album.
I just want to make this album really good because you don't really get the chance to do it, and I'm intent to becoming an influential band.
I think we're just going to keep getting better the whole time. That I'm very optimistic. As long as we're on Warner's, woo, we'll be fine.